Welcome in, family. Thank you for tapping into another one. We on part 20, my prison journey. Just dropped part 19, but I decided, man, let's go ahead and just drop part 20. Let's keep it going. Let's get right to it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, as I always ask, please subscribe to the channel. It definitely helps, and hit the like button and also share. This how it's going, family. We on part 20. My prison journey. Uh many might not understand, prison lifestyle and journeying. And there's many things I can share on my prison journey, but I don't want to get off into certain areas because it can be very messy. And I don't want to steer us away from the direction that I want to go in with this series. So a lot of things I'm gonna be leaving out, not because I'm trying to rob you of the story. It just, some things is real messy, violent, and I don't believe that's necessary to share that at this particular time. Maybe down the road, if that's asked, by the audience, then, I don't have an issue sharing that. But it got to be something behind it. I don't want to just be sharing it just for sharing the sake. It got to be some kind of teaching behind it to even, grab my attention and to share it. So, yeah, we on part 20. As I said in the last part, the plane broke down because of the pilot landing too hard and knocked out the boards or whatever the case is. So, back in Oklahoma again, and and sitting there, you can buy a commissary. The only thing you can do, you can get on the phone, you can watch TV, and you pretty much, out yourself a majority of the day. COVID, from what I heard, COVID changed a lot of it. So I don't think the being out all day is still in place. I'm not too sure. I gotta probably check into that. But COVID changed a lot of things in terms of how long you're gonna be out and whatnot. So I'm back in Oklahoma waiting to get to my spot, unfortunately. And another unfortunate is that I'm spending my birthday in Oklahoma when I should have been on the compound, maybe making a call, maybe getting a nice meal, whatnot. But nonetheless, man, sometimes trials is necessary to help us to grow. So back in Oklahoma, I end up staying there, I want to say on a week, a little over a week. And then they got me up. It was time for me to go. When you're there, you kind of gauge when your bus is gonna come for that particular prison. So I was able to speak to a lot of the men in there, and they was like, man, it's gonna be not this week, but probably the following week, and it end up being earlier than what it was supposed to be. So blessing. So I get to my jail, Victorville, in California, gangland, and if you ever seen the movie Friday and the way they talk just like that. The guys from California, man. And so I got off the bus. It was about 34, 35 of us. And at that particular time, I gotta mention this, there were a lot of guys in Oklahoma that were going to a different prison but got rerouted to the prison that I was going to. Why? Because the BOP put a population increase on all California prisons. And why is that? It's because the ratio of blacks versus Mexicans or Spanish was probably, I'm going to say, and I'm just guessing a number, but I could be off just a little bit, maybe 8-1, or that might be a low number. We just make it round it up to 10-1. That might be a low number. That's how bad it was in terms of blacks being there. And one thing about the prison system, wherever the majority of the numbers is at, the less number has to deal with a lot, because we know that the more numbers, the more, it comes into people's head that they got the power, and then they want to become oppressive, and the rest of the story. So they put a population increase. A lot of guys got rerouted. They thought they were going one place, and they got rerouted to that California prison. So it was a few guys that I met from Baltimore that got rerouted, Washington, D.C. that got rerouted, New York that got rerouted, Pennsylvania that got rerouted. All these men came off the bus with me, and we went to Victorville. And so we got out. They give you a net bag with your bedding in there, your sheets, blankets, things like that you need to get through for the night. And they let you out of the receiving room onto the compound. So we got our net bag. We walking. The guys that's in the prison already, they know a bus just landed, so they looking to see, if they got any homeboys that got off the bus. And the thing about the federal system, right? The federal system is separated based on geographical location. It's not like the state prison. Whatever state you're in, let's just say you in Pennsylvania state, and you go to state prison, the majority, at least 90% of prisoners there is going to be from the state of Pennsylvania. If you're in New York, or state prison system, at least 90% of that population is going to be from the state of New York, whether it's upstate or down in the city. But the federal system is very different. It's dealing with men from many different states and cities all around the country, compacted in one, right? So it's divided by cars. If you're from New York, you kind of you rolling with the New York car. If you from Georgia, Atlanta, you rolling with the maybe the down south car. It depends on what prison you're in. If you're from Pennsylvania, you're rolling with, and vice versa. Washington D.C., you're rolling with the D.C. car. So getting off the bus, everybody's I'm walking to my unit. They tell you what unit you're going to. I'm going to my unit. Boom, boom. And they tell me what cell I'm going to. So I go, put my things in my cell. My cellie was doing something in there, so I told him, I said, look, Lord, do your thing. I'll wait till you're done later on. I'll put my bed and stuff together. I'm just trying to, I'm trying to visualize what's going on with what this thing is about here. So, it's been a little while since I watched videos, rap videos. So it was a TV that was playing videos, rap videos. So I'm standing in front of the TV, I'm watching. I'm like, okay, you can't hear anything, because in the feds you have to have, they sell radios in the commissary, and you program it to the TV. There's a box. Let's just say this TV is 88.1. Well, you turn the 88.1 on your radio device, and you be able to listen to the TV. There's no turn the TV on and just blasting all in the unit. Nah, that's not the way it goes. Everything is with the radio. So I'm just bopping because I'm looking, some of the videos I know the songs, so I'm bopping. And I look behind me and I see some Spanish guys looking at me, and I just look at them like, what's going on? And they look at me like, okay. But they give me that look like, they down the middle. They're not bending on one side. They're not aggressive. They're not passive, but they just down the middle. So I'm like, all right, cool. So older guy from California, he pulled up on me. He said, he could tell that I just got off the bus because I got the all-in-one jump on. That's when you could tell somebody just got off the bus, because you got to wait to the following day to go get your clothing, your khakis and stuff. You get tan khakis and things like that. So you got to wait till the next day. So they could tell that you just got off the bus. So the guy came to me, he said, how you doing, man? What's your name? So I tell him my name. He's like, where you from? I said, I'm from out of New York. He said, okay. He said, hey, let me talk to you real quick over here. So go over there. He like, hey, look, you want to watch the videos and stuff? We got our TVs over here. You can watch it over here. Ain't no issue. You know what I mean? That's the Sereno TV. So I'm like, who? He like, Sereno. I'm like, what's that? He like, well, that's a Mexican gang. Okay, never heard of it, So he said, everything in here, everybody got their own situation. That's the Sereno TV. Then you got the Paiza TV. I said, who? He said, Paiza. I said, what's that? He said, well, that's the Mexicans. I said, okay. Then you got the blacks. We got our sports TV here, and we got our regular TV here. We watch movies or whatever. You want to put the videos on, watch it right there. And you got the white guys may have a TV and things like that. So now I'm seeing what I'm walking into now. So I go back over there to the Serena dudes. Hey man, want to apologize, man. My bad for that. I ain't. They said, man, nah, you good, man. We know you wasn't from out here, man. You straight, man. You know what I'm saying? Don't worry about it, man. We ain't tripping like that. They ain't tripping, but they really tripping. But they just telling me that. But anyway, so he's telling me how it goes. So he like, yeah, you from New York? There's some guys here on the unit from New York. So he bring me to them. We chopping it up, all that, and they, mention the paperwork, gotta have your paperwork, gotta have your paperwork. Family gotta have your paperwork. The men gotta know that you ain't getting nobody a life sentence, that you ain't telling nobody, that you ain't putting nobody away. So it ain't just a word of mouth. No, I didn't tell no. That ain't it. You got to show black and white. You got to show that you can walk this yard. If you don't have that, I'm sorry, you're not walking the yard. You have 30 days, not 31, not 32, not 30 and a half. You got 30 days to get your paperwork, right? You don't have your paperwork in 30 days, you can go up to the lockup, and when you get it, you can come back out. If you don't get it, you don't come back out. Now, I know some of us think we tough, and man, I ain't going no. Hey, that's cool. That's cool. Because mind you, where I went, you're dealing with guys that got multiple, not one, multiple life sentences. And if they do have one life sentence, they got life plus 50 years, things of that nature. So they don't have a problem with giving you the business that you're looking for. So, you can go willingly or it makes no difference to them. So, they told me, hey, look, paperwork is mandatory. They asked me what kind of case I had. I told them, they said, okay, paperwork is mandatory. You got 30 days to get your paperwork. No gambling, no doing none of that. Playing no tickets until you get your paperwork. Why is that? Because you can't be gambling. Then you get into it with somebody and then we end up crashing out because of you. And then we find out later on that you was no good. It ain't gonna make sense. So you gotta have your paperwork. In the next part, I'll show you what the paperwork looks like and what you need to have. And you all might not care about that, but I gotta show it to you just for the sake of getting clarity on what it is I'm talking about. So yeah, you gotta have that. And so we're gonna end this part right here. And we're gonna continue on part 21. The next episode, we're gonna get into what the paperwork looks like, what you're looking for, and then we're gonna delve off into prison life, what is kind of like in there, man. I can't give you every detail because, I don't want to put the men out there that's still doing stuff, but, we're going to get into a few things, show you what day-to-day is like, and so we're going to leave it there, family. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got something out of it, and I hate to keep asking. I don't know why I got to keep asking, but if you're not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and subscribe. It don't cost nothing. I'm not charging anything. YouTube ain't charging anything. So go ahead and subscribe. Also, like and share too. So I'm going to leave as I came with the words that I always leave you with all the time. Remember, your potential for greatness is unlimited.